for a very important topic, and it's green hydrogen to combat climate change for a clean, green, and resilient world. So I'm inviting. So Vasudevan sir, is he here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so you're most welcome, sir. So now over to Dr. Subramaniam Vasudevan, sir. He is Senior Principal Scientist and Professor, Central Electrochemical Research Institute, India. So really, the topic is very important: green hydrogen to combat climate change for a clean, green, resilient world. So over to you, sir. Vasudevan, sir. Please share
Thank you.
your
Thank you.
valuable inputs. Thank you.
Just I can share my slides.
Yeah. So after Vasudevan presentation, sir, I would request Dr. Rajas Sharma and Vijay Kumar Salvia. So Vijay Kumar Salvia ji, to have vote of thanks. Please be here connected with us, sir. And now we are waiting for presentation from Dr. Subramaniam Vasudevan, sir. Yeah.
I think not yet shared, no?
Yeah. Reshare. Might will come. Yes, sir.
Not yet.
Now your slide is visual now, sir.
Okay, thank you. 1 second.
Yes.
So now it's okay.
Yeah. Perfectly okay, sir. You are audible
Okay.
and the slide is visual.
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead. Thank you.
So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity for the RESC. So now we are talking about the hydrogen, because today is hydrogen day, because of this was based on the molecular weight, that is 1.008. I am surprising that why they are keeping today. Indians, we will always take date as the first 0.8. Why 10th August to be the hydrogen day, but they are giving the October 8th as the hydrogen day. Still, I am surprising that why it is going on. And the Henley was discovered the element in 1766. So now still we are talking about the hydrogen. And the first industrial water electrolyzer was developed in 1888. So this is the just a preliminary information I am going to share. This is the just like a fun. You can see the hydrogen. You can see the HYDROGE and hydrogen. So this is for the school students. They can be very interested. So energy, we are talking more about the energy. You can assume that sun energy, earth energy balance, we are getting around 5.6 into 10 power 24 joules per year energy from the sun. Suppose the energy emitted from the sun in 1 hour by the sun is adequate to cover the energy needs of the entire world population for 1 year. So you can imagine that what is the power of sun. So suppose we are assuming that incoming solar radiation is 100%, but we are not utilizing the 100%. We are utilizing only the 0.3%. All the 99.7% is going as reflection and absorption, reflection by surface, heat transfer, convection, and evaporation. So now only we are planning, and every world is planning to utilize the energy from the sun 100%. So we are using the 0.2% from wind, and photosynthesis 0.1%, and tidals. So many we are going on trying, but we are unable to achieve 100% utilization of the energy from the sun. So this is the thing from the energy. So why we are talking about the hydrogen is the global hydrogen energy gas emission by sector. You can see we are going for the net zero emission in future. So why, from where the CO2 is coming is in the left side, you can see the direct energy and process CO2 emission. It is from industrial side, and in the right side you can see the CO2 is from coming from the road freight and aviation and the shipping. In the industrial side, we are 24% of the total emission is taking place. In the vehicular side, 15% of the total emission is coming from. So we can see how to control this CO2 from industry and aviation or roadside. They are divided into 5 categories. That is, you can reduce the CO2 28%, 20%, and 16%, 10%, 26% by reducing the demand and improved energy efficiency, and direct use of clean energy, and direct use of renewable energy, and indirect use of clean electricity via synthetic fuels, and use of carbon dioxide removal moisture. So in both industry and vehicle, if you follow the 5 factors, we can definitely going to the net zero CO2 emission. You can see in 2020, we are producing the 40 metric ton of CO2 captured because of, you can see we are using the solar PV and wind accounts for only 10%, and also 5% of global car sales are electric, and you can see the from 21 onwards, we are going for the renewable energy. So once we are changing to more to one to other, in 2030, you can see we are reducing the carbon dioxide emission 21.1%. And the important point is here, you can see the 150 metric ton low carbon hydrogen will be developed. That is 850 gigawatt electrolyzers are we are going to develop. So this is the impact we are reducing the CO2 in 2030. In 2040, we are still reducing to 6.3 gigatons of CO2 because of, you can see the electrolyzer capacity reaches 2,400 gigawatt, and oil demand is 50% of 2020 level. So by this way, we are reducing the CO2 emission. You can see in 2050, there is a zero total emission because you can see the 520 metric ton of low carbon hydrogen. And also, you can see more than 85% of buildings are zero carbon emission, and almost 70% of electricity generation globally from solar PV and wind. So in that CO2 reduction, the electrolysis of hydrogen is a main and key factor for the net carbon zero emission. You can see the SKG, they will call that how to reduce, and you can go for the STG. There are reduce greenhouse gas emission by 17% by 2020, and 26 to 28% by 2025, and 83% by 2050 from 2005 baseline, and reduce net oil imports by half by the 2020 from a 2008 baseline, and double energy productivity by 2030. So there are 1, 2, 3, 5 points are there where the hydrogen will be important role in these 5 points. That is, hydrogen at a scale strongly impacts 1 and 4, also impact 2. So these are the 5 points where you can go for the SDG goal. So you can see the change in primary energy demand. So India is going ahead with the energy demand. You can see the global energy paradigm, India taking the lead because we are going towards the industrialization. Once the energy demand is more, if you continue the present situation, the CO2 emission will be more. For that only, we are going for the green energy, that is use the hydrogen. You can see the electricity demand by the selected regions. You can see China, US, India. You can see the demand growth in 2040 is more in India. So we are going towards the green energy because of this type of requirement. You can see the coal, gas, and nuclear and renewables. You can see the bright future for the renewables. This is with respect to solar or wind. Mainly, it is a bright future for the hydrogen for that energy requirement. And you can also reduce the CO2 emission by the demand by the fuel. So we are going for the low carbon fuel. By the way, you can reduce the CO2 emission. And this is the era of oil is not yet over like that. Even we are going on talking, we don't want to use the oil, but anyway, it is unable to stop the oil utilization of oil. You can see this graph, even though the oil requirement is the negative side, but still some industry are required for the oil. So it is very, very difficult to omit the oil for the some particular points. You can see the petroleum age. Now we are talking about the hydrogen. It is really happening. You can see 1956, the Haber's peak was detected that in 2000 is the peak oil production in this, and it is going on reducing. And you can see in 2050, the price of oil is $100 per gallon. But in 2100, we are expecting that the oil age will be reduced, and we are going towards the hydrogen as a gaseous oil. And you can see the key elements and focus area for India's intended nationality determined contributions. That is how we are going to reduce the CO2 emission. That is 40% power from the non-fossil fuel by 2030, and to reduce the emissions intensity of its GDP by 33 to 35% by 2030 from 2005 level, and additional carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 billion tons of CO2 equivalent through additional forest and tree cover by 2030. So for this, what we are going to do with the in near future, the thing is only the hydrogen. You can see we are started the wood, and we are gone to coal, and we are gone to oil and natural gas. Now in the 2020, we are talking about the hydrogen. So only source to avoid the CO2 is the, at present, we are focusing on the hydrogen. And you can see the this graph, it is typically predicting, no? You can see the liquid is going on diminishing, and you can see the solid, it is going on diminishing. You can see the gaseous fuel is going on increasing. So this graph shows it is perfectly aligning with this graph. Now we are talking, and in future, hydrogen is the main fuel for all our utilities. And why we are talking about hydrogen such a big deal than battery? You can compare the energy density, that is megajoules per kilogram. You can take lithium ion battery, this is 0.54 megajoules per kilogram. And you can take a gasoline, it is only 46.9. If you take hydrogen, it is 140 megajoules per kilogram. That is 220 times more energy than batteries and 2.2 times more energy than the gasoline. So because of this only, we are talking hydrogen and hydrogen. You can see the upper heating value is 39 for hydrogen, and it was lower. It is very low for methane and diesel and gasoline. So that's why we are all are talking about hydrogen and hydrogen and hydrogen in the energy sector point of view. Suppose you can see the renewables. So you can see this is the solar PV. We are getting renewables means we are not getting the uniform energy, and you can see the wind farm. Here also we are getting the uniform energy. But in storage also big, very big problem. And you can see take as the battery, you can be the charge, discharge, so many things will happening. So how big the capacity, how long, and discharge duration, there are so many questions are there even in the renewables. What is that solution for that? That's why we are coming for the hydrogen. So the hydrogen is the multifunctional, that is it connects energy, mobility and industry. So that means you have to concentrate on production and transformation and transport and end use. So in all the places, hydrogen is the multifunctional than other energy sources. That's why we are talking more about the hydrogen. So what are all the components? We are talking hydrogen. So before going to the hydrogen, we have to take care of how to produce hydrogen, how to store hydrogen, and what are all the applications we are planning, and whether it is fuel cell or anything else. And you have to go for the awareness and capacity building, and you can also safety codes and standards. So once if you started thinking of hydrogen, we have to go for all the things. Then only you can you can use for the hydrogen in the real field. If there is a lack in safety codes and standards, there is no use. So if you are not giving the awareness to the people, if you produce hydrogen, if you store hydrogen, there is no use. So all the points should be covered in the hydrogen energy systems. In the case of production, as the speaker told, hydrogen production origin will be stored in the color. It is in the green and gray and blue and yellow and brown and black and pink and white and some other colors. So in all the cases, the CO2 will come, but only the production, the green hydrogen, that is by electrolysis of water using electricity from renewable energy, that is wind or solar or hydropower only. There is a green hydrogen production. In this green hydrogen production from electrolysis, we are doing research for the last 2 decades. I am going to talk more about what is our contribution from SICRI in the electrolysis point of view. And you can see the electrolysis. In 1874, Jules Verne predicted that a few lines, I believe that water will one day be employed as fuel, that hydrogen and oxygen which constitute it, that is called, we are talking about the fuel cell, and used singly or together will furnish an inexhaustible source of heat and light of an intensity of which coal is not capable. This statement was given in 1874 itself by the Jules Verne. I am sure that in 2050, water will replace fossil fuels as a primary resource for the hydrogen. And in the case of production, there are 3 types of electrolyzers are there. One is called alkaline electrolysis, and another is PM electrolysis, and the high temperature electrolysis. We at SICRI doing alkaline electrolysis and PM electrolysis. The difference is in alkaline, we are using KOH, and PM, it is the polymer membrane. And like that, there are so many parameters are same and different. We at SICRI, we are concentrating on alkaline electrolysis and PM electrolysis. You can see if you take the energy point of view, if we want the 1.48 volt to generate the hydrogen, and the theoretical voltage is 1.23. This 1.48 is minimum voltage required for the hydrogen. From this way only you can calculate the what is the energy consumption, what is the hydrogen production rate, that is kilowatt hour hydrogen per meter cube or kg of hydrogen. Like that you have to calculate from this graph. Suppose now we are talking the production of hydrogen by renewables. Suppose you can think that the renewable means without electricity also you can generate hydrogen. That is also called renewables. That is called biological photocatalytic hydrogen and electrochemical photolytic hydrogen and biological water splitting and photoelectrochemical water splitting and fermentation and conversion of biomass and waste and solar thermal water splitting. So these are all the 7 methods are available the production of hydrogen without electricity. I am telling this for all the students, all the universities, whatever the case, you can try for the production hydrogen without electricity from renewables. We can say that this is also called the renewable hydrogen production. Suppose the production of hydrogen renewables with the electricity. What are all the available technologies? You can use the electrolysis, use the power of hydropower, wind power, or biopower, or geothermal power, or solar power, or solar thermal power. So these are the technologies is available for the production of hydrogen with the electricity. We can say this is also called the renewable, that is green hydrogen. So you can go with production by hydrogen, green hydrogen with electricity or without electricity. This is very, very important for students to do their PhD and other master's degree programs. So what is going on in the alkaline electrolyzer? You can see this schematic diagram. So this is the diaphragm and this is the anode side, this is the cathode side. If you pass 25% of KOH or NaOH, and you can use the nickel based catalyst at 1.7 to 1.9 volt, you can get the hydrogen at a rate of 4.3 kilowatt hour per meter cube of hydrogen. So this is the present situation of alkaline electrolysis. What we are doing in SICRI in the case of alkaline electrolysis is, so this is the schematic industrial alkaline electrolyzer. You can make the electrolyzer in the monopolar, in the bipolar configuration. And this is the typical system design and balance of plant for the alkaline electrolyzer. This is called electrolyzer. We are at SICRI concentrating we are only in the electrolyzer part. All the remaining plant will be we are ready to given as the design. We don't have any model design in SICRI. We have the electrolyzer, alkaline electrolyzer technology with SICRI. You can see in alkaline, there are different type of catalysts who are developed in alkaline catalyst electrode. What the SICRI is doing is that is called high surface area nickel. We at SICRI developed the high area nickel electrode catalyst. This type of catalyst was imported from Canada by India. We developed this type of high catalytic active electrodes, and also we transferred this technology to one of the industry that is called Eastern Electrolyzer Limited, New Delhi. They are using our electrode in alkaline electrolyzer technology. So this is called high temperature electrolysis. We are not doing any work on high temperature electrolysis. Here the ceramic membrane as the solid electrolyte, and almost the system is the same as alkaline water electrolysis. And we are fully concentrating on proton exchange membrane electrolyzer. Here the electrolyte is the solid polymer electrolyte. But in the case of alkaline, we are using electrolyte is the liquid. But in the case of PM electrolyzer, the electrolyte is the just polymer electrolyte. Here also we are generating the hydrogen and oxygen. What SICRI is having in this technology. This is the simple catalyst that is called noble metal oxide is used as the anode catalyst, and cathode is the platinum based. In the cathode, hydrogen will be developed. In the anode, oxygen will be developed. And you can see the cathode. If you talk cathode means nickel is used as the catalyst for the alkaline electrolyte, and noble metal is used as the acid electrolyte. Acid electrolyte is nothing but the PEM electrolyte, that is called proton exchange membrane electrolyzer. So based on this concept or this type of base only, we are developed the electrolyzer technology. And we are going on doing the research how to reduce the cost of the electrolyte or cost of the catalyst. For that, we are using the carbon supported noble metal catalyst are using. We are done thousands of development in the electro catalyst part, both in cathode and the anode side. So this is the one method. We are depositing the platinum on the Nafion membrane by utilizing the very small amount of platinum in the cathode side. And in the case of anode catalyst, the anode catalyst is the very important part in the PEM electrolyzer, because this is the three-step process. So if the catalyst is not perfect, we cannot get this three-step process. For that, we are also tried many catalysts. You can see the OER, that is oxygen evolution, will take place. The catalyst type, rutile type or perovskite type or spinel type. So either of these you can use that. This is the very research component for the students. So you can try for the rutile type, perovskite type or spinel type. Like that, we are tried. We have our own catalyst in our electrolyzer. So this is the some of the models we are developed, and this is the current collector in the PEM electrolyzer. Very important thing is the current collector. That is, in the hydrogen side, we are using, you can use the carbon paper, and in oxygen side, we can't use the carbon paper. You can use the metallic current collector. Here also a lot of researches are going on. The major R&D needs is to develop a more durable and less expensive membrane, and develop a long-lasting membrane. Still, we are importing the membrane from foreign countries. There is no indigenous membrane. For that, you have to do the things and develop a durable, low-cost and active anode catalyst, and design of novel architecture for a large-scale production, and balance storage, develop a flexible, scalable system using low cost. Even though we are developed the electrolyzer, you have to more R&Ds or needs in this line. So this is the first prototype model developed at the SICRI. This will give the 0.02 meter cube per hour. This was developed in the year maybe 2005 or 2006. So all the things we have developed in SICRI. This is the some performance graphs. It is on par with international level. And after that, we are scaled up to double, that is 0.04 meter cube per hour PEM water electrolyzer system. And we are checked after the doubling, the performance is okay. After that, we are still go ahead with the 0.08 meter cube per hour PEM electrolyzer. In this also, we are succeeded, and you can see the 1 meter cube per hour PEM water electrolyzer unit was developed. These are all our students. You can see the facility. It is a compact model of 0.1 meter cube hour of PEM water electrolyzer. This is the water electrolyzer. All other things are the electronic circuits and rectifiers. This is our lab, and the students are actively participating in our development. And we are developed up to 2, 3, 4, and 5 meter cube of hydrogen. This is the model, and this is the technical specification. You can see we are getting the high pure hydrogen. Purity is on par with the international standards. The energy consumption is 5 kilowatt hour per meter cube in the case of our electrolysis. And this technology also transferred to one of the leading company in India, PEM electrolyzer, that is called Eastern Electrolyzer Limited. And they are installed our electrolyzer technology in the Oman. This is our technology, and all other part are done by the Eastern Electrolyzer. Now the Indian product were installed the international level. We are SICRI technology is very competent with the international level. So this is our solar powered PEM hydrogen generator. Now we have testing our electrolyzer integration with the solar power. So this is, you can see the big solar power installation, and this is called our electrolyzer. The testing is going on continuously. We have the demo setup in our institute. So this is the typical the balance of plant in the case of PM electrolyzer. Suppose if you want a cost breakdown for PM electrolyzer is, this is called a catalyst coated membrane. What are all the cost breakdown? This is the stack, the cost breakdown, and this is the electrolyzer cost breakdown. We have the cost breakdown for the system also. So now I am talking about more on PM electrolyzer, whether the raw material is available or not. No. You can see in electrolyzer, we want platinum, copper, nickel, iridium, tantalum, gadolinium. These are all the metals we want to do the PM electrolyzer. You can see the list of countries. So there is no name in India. So if you want to go for the PM electrolyzer, we have to depend on these countries. So this is the main drawback for the PM electrolyzer. We don't have the resources for platinum, iridium, so many things. So apart from this, even though we are talking hydrogen is the CO2 net zero like that. Suppose if you want to prepare this type of catalyst, you have to generate the CO2. So we can indirectly, we can tell that hydrogen is the CO2 free. But if you want the raw material, still the CO2 is coming from, because kg of CO2 per kg of the metal, like that it is coming. You can see the how much the precious metals are born for the PM electrolyzer, and this is the target. Now this is the present energy, and in 2050 what is the target, and R&D focus, what R&D focus is required for the target of the 2050. We are also going towards the target of 2050 in the SICRI. So this is the different manufacturer in all over the world, this proton, just like that. So in CSR SICRI product also from India, one of the competent for the international in the market. And this is the another system that is called AEM electrolyzer. This is called anion exchange membrane electrolyzer, like PM electrolyzer. You can see all over the world, in Germany, Norway, Denmark, UK, Belgium, Canada, so many places. PM electrolyzer or alkaline electrolyzer, something is going on. In India, we at SICRI, we have the technology on PM and the alkaline electrolyzer. And apart from that, now we are using the pure water. So the water, if you take the PM electrolyzer, the cost of water also takes place. That is 15% of the hydrogen production cost will go for the water. So what we are thinking is the alternate approach is to selective seawater oxidation, whether it is possible to use seawater as the source for the hydrogen generator. For that, we are doing the research, because if you go for the seawater, you can get only the chlorine. We can't get the oxygen. For that, we need a compact research to go for the oxygen evolution reaction. So in that, we are doing a lot of research on that hydrogen generation from the seawater, and we are succeeded. And you can see our publication in 2009. In 2009 itself, we are succeeded that we are suppressed the chlorine, and we are we are achieved the 100% oxygen. So this is the laboratory scale research. We are able to do hydrogen generation from the seawater. And also we are going for the non-noble metal. As I told in the earlier slides, we are using the noble metals. We are now concentrating on non-noble metal catalyst, and also for the utilizing the photoelectrochemical generation from the sunlight. For that, we are using different type of catalysts like TiO2, SiO2, and also Al2O3. So all the process are very, very simple process we are going for the non-noble metal catalyst. So these are all the ongoing research, not yet in the present technology level. This is called the ferrite. It's one of the if you go for the non-noble metal, the students can try for the ferrite like calcium, copper, nickel, manganese, and copper ferrite. We are doing the plenty of non-noble catalyst for the hydrogen generation research. And if you go once, if you produce, what is the hydrogen storage? We are not doing any hydrogen storage, but as a literature survey, you can store in the dual approach, whether it is a near-term approach or the longer term. Either you can use the cylinders, or you can use the cryo compressed engines, or you can use the metal hydrides, or you can use the sorbents, or you can use in the chemical hydrogen storage in the form of ammonia. So there are a lot of options are available for the storage technology. We at the SICRI, we are not doing any storage work. And recently in foreign countries, there is a new concept called hydrogen storage capacity in the salt caverns in Ute. You can see this is the salt cavern. Here they are storing the hydrogen. You can see the bulk underground hydrogen storage in the salt caverns has been demonstrated as a safe and effective process in the USA. And you can the subsurface Texas facility, it is available. They are successfully stored the hydrogen in the salt cavern. This is the demo plant available in the USA. I think the in India can also try for the hydrogen storage in this angle. And the delivery path, you can see, you can deliver the hydrogen either by the tanker or pipeline. There are many methods are available. Still, India is doing for the development. If you take for the hydrogen application, as many our speakers are told, the hydrogen application were huge. In the case of fuel cell, the electric cores and hydrogen electric trucks, and hydrogen liquid ammonia, green steel refineries, and also in the home use of hydrogen for heating and cooking purposes. So now we are making India's grid system for the using the hydrogen. So we are listened about more about the fuel cells. I don't want to go for the fuel cells, but what we are in SICRI is we are developed a different type of PM fuel cells, and this is called PM fuel cell stacks. And you can see the 1 kilowatt self-sustained PM fuel cell. This is called 45 watt self-sustained DMF, that is direct methanol fuel cells. SICRI having the technology for hydrogen production and also the fuel cells. And this is the different prototype models are available in SICRI in the case of fuel cell. And very recently, the India's first hydrogen fuel cell electric hybrid car was run in Pune in our technology. SICRI and NCL Pune joint venture with one industry, we are operated the electric vehicle. So these are all the some transport industry announced the fuel cell vehicle in different countries. They are giving the target year in 2022 like that. So it is going ahead, India, and also going our fuel cell research and application. If you see in the telecom tower, fuel cells is a very, very useful tower. And you can see the hydrogen, where hydrogen will be useful. You can see the hydrogen will be used for the full size trucks, not in the case of personal mobility. Normally in the small cars, the batteries will be used. For the long range buses, hydrogen will be the only choice. And you can see the Hydrogen Council is given the hydrogen direct fuel cell cost comparison. It is going towards the lower end. And you can also see the carbon emission. Here you can see the fuel cell vehicle. Hydrogen from natural gas means the CO2 emission was more. And fuel cell vehicle, the hydrogen from central biomass means 3. And this is the fuel cell vehicle, hydrogen from the electrolysis is the 6. Even though the fuel cell, if you do the hydrogen from the electrolysis only, the CO2 emission will be more.
So conclude, please.
Electrolyzer and fuel cell, this is the demo system. We are integrated both. And if you go for the hydrogen energy in the roadmap, India is going for the hydrogen. You can see the India's goal.
Yeah, 2-3 minutes, please, sir. Vasudevanji.
Yeah. This is the we want only 7,000 tons if you want to plan. And this is the hydrogen fueling station, Indian Oil Corporation. These are all the ongoing research or installation is going on in India. Even in Indian Railway is planning. And you can see the cost wise, people are talking and the cost, even though it is cost, the benefits will be more. You can see the cost development. Now we are in the middle range, that is 7 euros per kg hydrogen in 2020. In 2030, we are going for the 5 to 4. In 2040, we are going towards the 2 euros per kg. In 2050, all over the world, the hydrogen cost will be 1 euros per kg. This is the ultimate goal for the entire world. So the hydrogen economy is you have to go for marketing challenge, technological challenge. So many things are there for the hydrogen economy challenges. And it is the very happy news is everybody knows that in the union budget, our finance minister said that I propose to launch hydrogen energy mission to generate hydrogen from green power sources. So this is the happy news for the Indian. So we have to, if we want to zero emission vehicle, the government of India and automobile industries, oil industries, and academic industry all will combine. If you do the research, and then only we can go for the energy mission. This is all the some figures I want to show. And the zero aviation also going. You can see in 2040, the aviation that is 200 seats. That type of aviation is going to be come in near future. And Berlin, they are already started in the airport. Everything was hydrogen based airport. And in China, already trains are going with the hydrogen. And this is the hydrogen powered house. You can using the PV electrolyzer and fuel cell. And this is the very latest. Last month, US installed a 1,600 kg capacity station for the electric vehicles. And if you can, safety wise, it is very, very safety, because the hydrogen is the light gas. It will burn on the upper side. So it is well known that hydrogen will be utilized for many places and many energy production and other things. And you can see the status of import. The people will think that whether it is marketing and like that, it is the import export also very good for the hydrogen. I am sure that you can see the how India has evolved since independent. You can see the population, GDP, per capita, life, so many things was India is ahead after the independence. I am sure that in the renewable energy also, hydrogen also, the India will evolve in a right direction. So this is the photograph during the in May 2012, our Prime Minister visited. Our President of India, Dr. Abdul Kalam sir, presented. And in 2017, the former Science and Technology Minister was our visited. So I am explaining both. This is the first. It is the water treatment technology. This is called electrolyzer. Both are very impressed on this our technology. So thank you very much. I can close with the Mahatma Gandhi's thought. Science to be science must offer the fullest scope for the satisfying the hunger of the body, mind, and soul. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
So thank you very much, Dr. Vasudevan. And in fact, we are very proud to have a scientist like you, Dr. R.K. Pandey, Yuvraj Kothari, and all the even Dr. Ajay Misra, I would say. So all are real sense they are developing fantastically. So it was great session today, highly knowledgeable session today, and we know that you all are a treasure of knowledge. So even we will formulate one single day in a specific